Right now, we will see how the heterogeneous network can be connected together. So there are two basic choices for connecting different networks. One thing is like we can build devices, right? So which are capable of translating the protocols. In the sense, if you are connecting, say, one type of network with another one, definitely that protocol used, the header format, everything will vary, right? So we are deploying devices which will take on unit of information from a given network, and it will convert it so that it is suitable for the second network. So like that we can depend devices or convert packets from each kind of network into the packet for each other kind, right? So we can try to solve the problem by building. So that is a second solution, or so this is one way. Or we can try to solve the problem by building a common layer. So this is something we already seen. So whenever there is heterogeneity, to mask heterogeneity over these heterogeneous networks together, we have a common homogeneous layer above them, and that layer will mask the differences, right? Because when it comes to that layer, everything looks same, but underlying differences were there. That kind of a solution. So Cerf and Khan in 1974, you may be hearing these people name recently because they got Turing Award recently. Right, so this is the initial story. So during 1974, what they argued is like the second option, that is a common layer to hide the differences of the existing networks. So they come up with some solution, and the approach has been tremendously successful, and the layer they proposed was eventually separated into TCP and IP protocol. So this is a successful protocol that we are using in our current network with the TCP IP model, right? So with the two core protocol TCP IP, initially that is proposed by Cerf and Khan as a common layer protocol, and which later separated to TCP and IP. Yeah. So almost 4 decades later, IP is the foundation of the modern. So that is the story at 1974. But when we look at the things, how things changed, say after 4 decades, right? You can see that right now the IP is the foundation of the modern internet. So it is there as a core one. So for this accomplishment, Cerf and Khan, means after that 4 decade, that is in 2004, awarded Turing Award, the informally known as the Nobel Prize of Computer Science. So this is something you all are aware, right? So they got it. So that shows the impact of that their contribution, like IP or TCP we are studying. So how important they are and how popular they are, right? So IP provides a universal packet format that all routers recognize and pass through almost every network. So now it is so widespread, in the sense the format being used by IP is universal now, that every router that currently exists can understand it, so that things will be smoother when we use IP as a layer above the heterogeneous networks. So IP has extended its reach from computer network to even initially it is particularly for computer networks, so then they extended to telephone network, and it runs on sensor networks even, and tiny devices that were once presumed too resource constrained to support it. So initially they had some struggle to deploy the IP protocol on sensor networks and tiny devices, but later on at this point they were running smoothly on all those things. So it's extended and it is of widespread use. Right, so interconnecting devices, if you are looking at the interconnecting devices, we have discussed several different devices that connect the networks, including as the physical layer device we saw this repeaters and hubs, and data link layer we saw the switches, bridges, and router is something as a network layer device, particularly doing that routing functionality. And of course on the higher layers we have the gateway. So all are interconnecting devices, and particularly if you look at repeaters and hubs, they just deal with the bits, that's all, because they are physical layer devices. They move bits from one wire to another, maybe by amplification or simply as a connection point. So they are mostly analog in nature, because they don't have to think about that binary aspects and all. Simply they are dealing with the signal, right, and do not understand anything with the higher layer protocol. So that is their limitations. But if you look at bridges and switches, they are operating on the data link layer. So they can be used to build networks, but they can to some extent increase the size of the network, but they can do only minor protocol translation in the process. For example, we saw different types of Ethernet switches with I mean, they are capable of handling say 10 megabits per second, 100 megabits per 1000 megabits per, or 1 gigabits per second. Different Ethernet versions can communicate each other by means of these switches and all. But when it comes to the communication of from Ethernet to a network that is using something entirely different, where we have difficulty, the switch is not capable of doing it, and that is where we are depending the routers. And in addition to that, they will do that routing even, or they are interconnection devices that operate at the network layers, right? Similarly, if you look at gateway, they are working on layers above the network layer particularly. Now a packet crossing different network and link layer protocol processing. So this is something as taken as an example in Tannenbaum textbook. So I am also taking the same. From source, they are trying to have some communication with the destination, and on the way, the very first network that we encounter is the 802.11. So this is a popular wireless LAN Wi-Fi network, right? And the destination machine is now connected to the so-called Ethernet, that is IEEE 802.3 protocol, right? So which is the wired LAN, not wireless LAN, the wired LAN. So this is the type of communication I want. I want a communication between two devices. One is connected in a wireless LAN, and another one is connected to a wired LAN Ethernet. But on the way we have an entirely different network called MPLS. So MPLS stands for multiple protocol label switching. Anyway, we didn't see it so far, but if you are interested, you can Google it or you can read from the textbook. As it is not there in the syllabus, I didn't cover. Mainly we covered Ethernet only and 802.11 also. So similarly many other networks exist. MPLS is one such example that is taken here. So for the time being, it is a particular type of network, like that you can understand, and how it is different from Ethernet and 802.11. If you want details, you can do it by self study. Yeah, that is a situation. And if you look at this, so we can see the network and the link layer protocols which process them at different routers. So this is the source machine, what is happening in the source, and this is the first router, so, right? This is the thing happening, and similarly at this router this conversion is happening, similarly at the destination, and this is what is happening, right? So like that it is showing. And you can see top we have the network layer and bottom we have the data link layer. So data link layer, we have a 802.11 protocol with its header and all. Similarly here that conversion should be happening, because from 802.11 now it is entering into MPLS. So 802.11 header format, everything should be converted to MPLS. So the in between, that router should be capable of doing it, right? Similarly at this point from MPLS, the protocol conversion should happen to Ethernet, and finally this Ethernet will be delivered to the higher layer. But if you look at network layer, we are just using a single protocol IP, and this IP everywhere, and this is actually doing this heterogeneity masking. So this is now responsible of. So what is the thing, if you look at 802.3, this Ethernet, Ethernet is using something called a MAC address for addressing devices within an Ethernet LAN, which is a 48-bit number. But if you look at 802.11 or MPLS, the type of address used will be different. That is something suitable or comfortable for them. But IP, if all router can understand, that is what we already seen about IP. So this is actually providing a common format, like IP. If you are using IP itself, evolved in two versions, mainly V4 and V6. Particularly if you are said using IPv4, it's 32-bit address, and that is of unique nature. And now this uniqueness actually help our packet to travel nicely from one point to another, irrespective of the underlying heterogeneity. So underlying we have a heterogeneous network like 802.11 MPLS or Ethernet. Over that we are using that IP, or we are taking the help of the IP protocol that masks the differences, right? And suitably it will do that protocol conversion. That is mainly done by the router. And this IP protocol and its address is actually helping us to route the protocol correctly to the destination, irrespective of the underlying network and its addressing scheme. So we will see the interconnection at the network layer. An internet comprised of 802.11 MPLS. That explanation for the example we already seen. Ethernet is what is shown in figure in the previous slide. Suppose that the source machine on the 802.11 network wants to send a packet to the destination which is in Ethernet. So since these technologies are different and they are further separated by another kind of network, a third kind of network called MPLS, some added processing is needed at the boundary between these two networks. So because different networks may in general have different addressing, the packet carries a network layer address that is unique, the IP address, right? And that can identify any host across the three network, and which is IP in our example. And the source accepts data from the transport layer. Of course, above that network layer, what we have is the transport layer, and from transport layer, information will be handed over to the network layer, and it generates packets with the common network layer address. The first boundary the packet reaches is when there is transition from 802.11 to MPLS. And if you look at 802.11 and MPLS, one difference between these two, 802.11 is connectionless, where MPLS is connection oriented, that is virtual circuit based. So this means that the virtual circuit must be set up across the network, that is only through that communication to happen through that MPLS we are forced to use network circuit. So again another heterogeneity issue, and we are supposed to handle it. So once the packets has traveled along the virtual circuit, it is reaching the other end where that Ethernet is there. So now another difficulty we are facing is just an example taken. Similarly, in a real case there will be a number of difficulty. When we reach a Ethernet, Ethernet is capable of handling some 1500 only, but we generated something more than that. So the packets are found to be too large to be carried to Ethernet. So since 802.11 can work with larger frames than Ethernet, so accordingly it generated the frames. So we are supposed to divide the packets into fragments, right? So, and this fragmentation, how it is done, we will see in a separate video lecture, and each fragment is sent separately. So when the fragments reach the destination, they are reassembled at the destination machine. Again another responsibility of network layer. So then the packets has completed its journey. So I hope you understood that what are the difficulty we are facing, just with an example of 802.11 MPLS and Ethernet on the way, that connection oriented to connectionless, or connectionless to connection oriented, that conversion, fragmentation, reassembly, everything we may encounter. If this real situation is also like this, or we may encounter something more than this. Now just a quick comparison between router and switch, because both are capable of doing that protocol conversion, but switches will do minor protocol conversion, where router is capable of doing it in a more detailed way, to some higher level. So observe that there are essential differences between the router case and switched case. Mainly that routing means that routing algorithm will be running on the background to give it support, where switching just forwarding part only. So with the router, the packet is extracted from the frame, and in case of router, it is depending on the network address, that is IP address in the packet that is used for deciding where to send it. But if you look at the switch, they are depending on the data link layer address, particularly if you are using Ethernet, some MAC address that is there in the frame. But here it is packet, it's a unit of information. So switch do not have to understand the network layer protocol, because it is running in the data link layer only, so it is fully unaware about what is happening in the network layer being used to switch the packet. But routers are supposed to do, because it is a network layer device, right? A router can handle multiple networks protocol, of course, and we specially call them as a multi-protocol router, where different network layer protocols like IP, IPX, AppleDoc, like that, different network layer protocols are there, and they can communicate each other if we are having a multi-protocol router. So it must either translate the protocol, say, from one format to another, or leave a connection for a higher layer protocol. Again, higher layer here it means when it comes to the 802.11 Ethernet, that kind of data link layers protocol, that heterogeneity we masked with the help of IP. But if like IP, some other network layer protocol also exists, and we have to mask the difference between, say, IP and IPX, or IP itself, IPv4 and IPv6, then again we have to depend on some devices connecting them commonly for the translation of the protocol part, or we can again depend on some common layer above the network layer, and that is what is TCP. But for our application we are not using TCP, right? So it depends what kind of change means how we want to mask the heterogeneity. And that means the concept what we learn with IP, we can generalize to the higher layer also. So different network layer protocols. If you look at the how the IP is evolved and so what are all their competitions. So networking has been very successful as building large network, but it only works when there is a common network layer. Say protocol. So this has been in fact many networks protocols over there have been in fact many network protocols that emerged over time. Examples other than IP, which is something known to you, which is now near universal network. So IP is the almost near universal network like that you can see, but still there are here and there some different networks exist like IPX, SNA, Apple Talk. They were examples for network layer protocol, core protocol other than IP. So they are something different, right? And if such network like IP want to communicate with Apple Talk or SNA or IPX, then we have to depend on some devices or some layer above it. So none of these protocols are still in widespread use like the other than IP, right? But there will always be other protocols. So that should be the way we have to think when we come up with the design. So the most relevant example is probably, yeah, but if you look at IP itself, so IP is something dominating, of course, but now from IPv4 we are trying to shift to IPv6 due to the shortage of addresses. IPv6 is this address concept, everything we will see. It's a 32-bit address. So 32-bit 2 addresses you can generate, which is a large number, but still with this IoT and all, when every gadget is getting part of the network, this 2 is found to be a small number in the sense that many addresses we want, and so that is where we shifted from this 32-bit to say 128-bit. So that is what is our IPv6 protocol, where we can have a 2 power 128, which is something we can't even imagine that much bigger number, right? So that many addresses possible. So that is something a mandatory change that we are supposed to have. And but when people come up with IPv6, that is something like what happened, yeah, it's somewhat completely not compatible each other, right? So that is a difficulty we are facing, because address itself we can see that instead of 32-bit now it changed into 128-bit, so that will take say some 4 times of the space, and also accordingly the protocol and its use, everything changed. IPv6 is somewhat entirely different from IPv4, so how they will work each other, so that is one difficulty. So already almost all existing networks are using this IPv4, so how this shift will happen from v4 to v6? So getting IPv4 and v6 to run in the same network has proven to be a major obstacle to the deployment of IPv6, so something we will see in detail also. So here what we are trying to say is different network layer protocol and the issue out of it. So in that way IPv6 and v4 are touched along with the other one like IPX, SNA, Apple Talk. Yeah, with this we will wind up the current this particular session. Thanks for watching, and maybe further differences including tunneling, different routing between different network, fragmentation of course we will cover in the subsequent videos.